Hello and greetings, people from the YouTubes. It's time for another update video. It's been a while, and I'm aware that most of you are eager to hear when the next installment of Realm is released. That, and if there will be anything new from the GP crew. I have good news on that matter, and I would like to cover the reason for Realm 5's delayed release. If you're wondering about Realm 5's official release, then I'm excited to tell you that it's coming out on Madness Day, September 22nd. I'm uploading it on that day for multiple reasons. One of the reasons being that during late 2017, after Realm 4 had been finished, I had a huge loss of motivation. After Realm 4's release, I had planned to work on Incident 022A and its take as one of the alternate versions of the Realm series. This was a fun project where I could take a breather from the more cinematically aspected type of movies and move on to less demanding content. Although I was working on a project I found easier to make, I still had this feeling that I couldn't get rid of, a feeling that would make me want to stop working and start procrastinating. I thought very little of it and moved on, but that would later prove to take effect in the near future. After the delay of Incident 022A, the 3-minute short animation made it to the public eye of the internet. I was satisfied with the result despite re-uploading it a few hours later, where I fixed some issues and errors that bothered me. But that's besides the point. When I finally decided to start working on Realm 5 afterwards, I had a huge surge of motivation that would carry me for the first period of time. However, it quickly faded as I would continue to work on the animation. However great I found my own ideas to be, it was going to be hard for me to carry out the same expectations I had for myself and to actually execute it for it to be displayed for the world to see. As time went on, I got further into the animation that is Realm 5 and reached the goals I was setting for myself. The content I was created, I was content with. Pun intended. The start of a decline with progress on the movie became more and more apparent as I would start to not work so much at a time and work for less amounts at times a week. Already having trouble motivating myself to get started by mashing F6 and F5 and the like, it was increasingly getting more difficult to even touch my Flash files even though I've opened them, and I would start to just stare at the stage without moving a single object. Then I'd end up just procrastinating over YouTube videos. Silly me. But the sheer lack of motivation made me lose hope in my own hopes and goals when it came to being creative. I'd draw and write less and less. Over time, I would just stop working on my projects. As a simple explanation, for the people who had a hard time listening to my babbling, I made this obligatory meme from Jonathan Jafari's video.
Oh, young child, do not worry, in time, for you shall understand. Whatever, be cryptic.
Just make Realm 5.
You've got nothing to worry about. I can't do this. I can't do this. Look what they did to me. Look what they did to me! What are these? What is this? I can't eat. This is not food, man! Oh! Oh! I don't even know what any of this is, man. I don't even know what any of this is.
As you can see, I had myself set up for an absolute blast where I believed I could go in any direction I wanted to, even though I had promised myself Realm 5 wouldn't be nearly as long as Realm 4 was. But I lied to myself, and that might have caused this problem. In short, I've learned my lesson and will continue to be as ambitious and set my goals too high, so nothing new as per usual. Besides that, I'm currently having my girlfriend Simperine visit me for a few weeks where I'll most likely be too busy to work on my projects and spend my time with her instead. I'll work on it here and there, but there's definitely a halt in progress until she heads back. But back to the previous part, Realm 5 will be uploaded on September 22nd so I can allow myself back into the healthy cycle of how I schedule my projects. On to my second point. I mentioned before about whether or not the GP crew is working on anything. I come with good news, that we're working on the 100,000 subscriber collab, ever so slowly, meaning we have begun to create concepts, brainstorm, and draw out a story. I cannot promise that we can complete this collaborative effort, but it's definitely something I'm excited to work with, as it is a little unorthodox to how I usually go around with Madness animations. If me and the crew all decide to work on this with even a little amount of effort, it can be done. The work will be divided between me and Gib the most. Aesthetic will serve as the cleanup artist on the visuals. Manticore will not have a big spot in the production, except for moments in a few places throughout the movie, but will help with the overall quality assurance and the flow of the story. I will be working with the graphics and animation, while Gib will work on the animation and sound effects. We're ready to get started with this project, although we have little knowledge of how long it's going to be and how long it will take to make. We'll decide to not ponder too much about that for the time being. For now, it's all about how we'll get around to finish this without stopping halfway. There will be bumps on the way, and it won't be easy, but I'm determined. That's about all I had for this video, and all of the current news I have for the upcoming projects. I do want to mention some other things, like the people who has been a great support throughout the past couple of years and how they've helped me to stay sane while making the everlasting Realm 5. I'd like to thank Gib for spending his precious hours away at being a cool and epic gamer friend who's always stuck up for me. No, seriously, he is a great friend. Only problem is, it's hard to get him to work on any of his projects, that sloth guy. On the contrary though, he's assisting me in terms of sound effects for Realm 5. I'm not really using too many of the ones Citrix made, except for a few ones, but mostly Gib's as I find them to suit my movies better. They sound somewhat similar to Citrix, but they're still different, in whichever way Gib sees it best, so it's not so alienating to the new sound format. I want to thank Simperine for being an incredible help by being there for me in any kind of sticky situation. Whether it was something important, awkward, or only mattered to me, she's there to help out. I couldn't wish for anything else. And without her, I wouldn't have been able to keep up with my projects, so I'm super thankful for her. To end this video off, I'd like to tell I highly appreciate the support you people on here have given me. Keep it up, folks. I'll attempt to keep and uphold my promises. There will be more information about what's up in the future, particularly about Realm 5's releases. Until then,